The book of Ezekiel was written by the prophet Ezekiel. The name Ezekiel means God strengthens. Ezekiel came from a priestly line and was the son of Buzi. Ezekiel lived during the time of the downfall of the city of Jerusalem. Ezekiel's prophecy took place during Babylonian exile in the year 597 BC. The prophets Jeremiah and Daniel were also writing when Ezekiel was writing. The theme of the book of Ezekiel is the final restoration of the nation of Israel. Babylon invaded Judah 3 times in all, and during the second invasion, Ezekiel was taken capture into Babylon. A quick summary of the book is that Ezekiel prophesied to the Jewish captives in Babylon. Ezekiel was used by God to speak prophecies through words, parables, and visions. Ezekiel's Ezekiel's message focused on the temple and the restoration of the nation of Israel. Ezekiel's ministry focused a lot on the temple. Ezekiel prophesies that the temple would be rebuilt. Ezekiel prophesied that the city Jerusalem would fall. He said that during an exile time they should focus on God and praise Him. He was right because Jerusalem did fall in 546 BC. Ezekiel preached that because of Israel's sins, they were taken into exile. Ezekiel also had a vision of dry bones coming to life in chapter 37. The book of Ezekiel begins when he receives his first vision from God on his 30th birthday, during the 5th year of King Jehoiachin's captivity. Ezekiel saw a windstorm coming out of the north. It was an immense cloud that was surrounded by a brilliant light and flashing lightning. In the center of the storm, there was a fire that looked like glowing metal. That glowing metal resembled what looked to be like 4 living creatures. Each creature had the face of a human being on one side. The right side had a face of a lion, the left side had a face of an ox, and the back side had a face of an eagle. Each of these creatures had 2 wings covering its body. Ezekiel described these creatures to be speeding back and forth like lightning. Each creature had a wheel inside a wheel that sparkled like topaz. These creatures were a vault of crystal. Above the vault was a throne, which sat a figure of a man. This was the appearance of the likeness of God. When Ezekiel saw this vision, he fell face down and listened to the voice of the man. Ezekiel is called the Son of Man, which means human. This name exhibits the difference between God and Ezekiel. In chapter 16, Ezekiel compares the nation of Israel to an adulterous wife, a wife that wants her husband and another man. This is showing us that Israel seeked God but also seeked idols. This comparison can be applied to our own lives. We should only seek after God, for we are His bride, and we should not commit idolatry. In chapters 25 through 28, God judges the nations that have come against Israel. The Ammonites, Moabites, Edomites, Philistines, Phoenicians, Tyre, Egyptians, Assyrians, Elamites, Meshech, Edomites, and Phoenicians, Sidon. They were all judged. In chapter 37, a vision of dry bones comes to life. This symbolizes the restoration of the nation of Israel. The temple would be restored and the nation of Israel would return to their land. God says to Ezekiel, "Son of man, can these bones live?" And Ezekiel replies that through the Lord they can. God's Spirit, His breath and Ruach, brings life. This is a message of hope, a reminder of God's promises even while Israel is exiled. The nation of Israel is dead in their sin. They are in captivity and are far from God, but God reminds the nation of Israel of the promise that He made to Abraham. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will breathe life into these bones, his Ruach, and the nation will be breathing in life again. An application of this vision of dry bones coming back to life would be that although we are dead in sin, once we accept Jesus as Lord, He will breathe into us and we will become alive again, and we will become a new person. The people of God are given a new heart, and in this new heart, they are to keep the word of Torah and keep God's commandments. Once they keep these commandments, they are a new people, and they love God more and more. A message of deliverance and restoration is written in chapters 33 through 48. This not only includes the current nation of Israel, but also the future of the coming Messiah, the temple, and the kingdom of God in the end of the age. The nation of Israel deals with its sins as it faces the nations and turns to God, which leads to the redemption of Israel, and also the reign of the Messiah King.